The Chinese yuan, also known as the renminbi, has long been a subject of debate in international financial cycles as a potential reserve currency. While some experts believe that the yuan could eventually rival the US dollar as the world's primary reserve currency, there are several reasons why this is unlikely to happen. First in the list is the lack of convertibility. One of the key characteristics of a reserve currency is its convertibility, or the ability to be easily exchanged for other currencies. The Chinese yuan is not fully convertible, as the Chinese government placed strict control on exchange of its currency. This makes it difficult for foreign investors to purchase and sell yuan, which limit its use as a reserve currency. In fact, according to data from the International Monetary Fund, the Chinese yuan ranked just 22nd in terms of convertibility, far behind the US dollar, which ranked first. While the Chinese government has made some progresses in the recent years in terms of liberalizing its currency, it still maintains strict control on the capital flow and exchange rate, which limit the yuan convertibility. This lack of convertibility makes it difficult for foreign investors and central banks to hold large amounts of yuan, as they are concerned about the ability to exchange the currency for other currencies. The second concern is the limited global use. Another characteristic of a reserve currency is its widespread use in the international trade and financial transactions. While the yuan has gained some acceptance in the recent years as a medium of exchange, it is still far behind the US dollar in the terms of global usage. According to data from the Bank for International Settlements, the US dollar is used in 87% of all foreign exchange transactions, while the yuan is only used in just 2.2%. This limits global use means that the yuan is not yet a viable alternative to the US dollar as a reserve currency. In 2022, the gap between the US dollar and yuan has maintained largely unchanged, with the US dollar still accounting for over 80% of foreign exchange transactions, while the yuan share has remained at around 2%. This is despite the Chinese government efforts to promote the use of the yuan in the international trade and finance, such as through the Belt and Road Initiative and establishment of the Shanghai International Exchange. The limited global use of the yuan means that it is not yet widely accepted as the medium of exchange, which in turn limits its potential as a reserve currency. You also need to look at the volatility of the currency. The value of a reserve currency must be stable in order to be trusted by the investor and central banks. The Chinese yuan has a history of volatility, particularly during times of economic turmoil. For example, during the global financial crisis of 2008, the yuan saw significant fluctuation in the value as the Chinese government intervened to stabilize the currency. This volatility makes it difficult for the yuan to be trusted as a reserve currency. In fact, data from the Bank for International Settlement show that the yuan has one of the highest levels of volatility among major currencies, ranking 13 out of 16. In 2022, the yuan volatility has remained relatively high compared to other currencies, with frequent fluctuation in value due to a variety of factors, including economic growth, trade tensions, and monetary policies, while the Chinese government has taken steps to improve the stability of yuan, such as through the use of foreign exchange reserve and capital controls. The currency's volatility remains a concern for investors and central banks. A volatile currency is not a suitable use as a reserve currency, as it is difficult for investors and central banks to predict its value over time. Limited access to China financial markets. In order for the yuan to be a viable reserve currency, foreign investors must have access to China financial markets. However, China has historically been slow to open up its financial market to foreign investors, and there are still significant barriers to entry. The limited access means that the foreign investors are hesitant to hold large amounts of yuan, which in turn limits its use as a reserve currency. According to the World Bank's Doing Business report, China ranked just 70 out of 190 countries in terms of ease of doing business, indicating the challenge that foreign investor faces in accessing the country's market. As of December 2022, these challenges have not significantly improved, and foreign investors continue to face barriers to entry into China's financial market. This limited access to China financial market makes it difficult for foreign investors and central bank to hold large amount of yuans, as they are concerned about their ability to access and exit these markets. In conclusion, while the Chinese yuan has made some progress in recent years in terms of its global use and convertibility, it still faces significant challenges in becoming reserve currency. The lack of convertibility, limited global use, volatility of the currency, and limited access to China financial market all make it difficult for the yuan to be a viable alternative to the US dollar as a reserve currency. While it is possible that the yuan could eventually become a more significant player in the global financial system, it is unlikely to surpass the US dollar as the primary reserve currency in the foreseeable future.